The massive training hall fell silent. Every alien warrior, with their towering frames and enhanced battle armor, stood frozen in disbelief. The weapon they called Mountain's Burden, a devastating piece of artillery that required at least 3 of their strongest soldiers to lift, was being held firmly in the hands of a single human recruit. The human stood there, muscles barely straining, as he adjusted his grip on the 20-foot-long cannon. His plain recruit uniform and lack of enhanced gear made the scene even more extraordinary. Whispers spread through the gathered crowd of elite alien soldiers. "Impossible," muttered Commander Zexlar, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in succession. The commander's scaled skin shifted from its usual deep purple to a pale lavender, a clear sign of shock among his species. The human recruit simply maintained his position, the weapon balanced perfectly in his hands. What the aliens didn't know was that years of working in Earth's high-gravity environment had given him and his fellow humans capabilities that seemed almost supernatural to other species. "Well," the human said calmly, his voice carrying across the now silent hall, "should I put it back, or would you like to see what I can do with it?" The alien warriors who had been mocking him just moments ago now stepped back involuntarily. Their previous jokes about fragile Earth dwellers died in their throats as they realized they had severely underestimated their newest recruit. That day marked the beginning of a change in the Galactic Alliance's understanding of human potential. What started as a simple demonstration would soon reshape the entire power structure of interstellar warfare. Little did they know, this was just the first glimpse of what humans could bring to the battlefield. Earth's journey into the Galactic Alliance began 3 years ago, when massive alien ships appeared in our skies. Unlike the invasion scenarios from old movies, they came with an invitation. Humanity had finally developed enough to join the interstellar community. The Alliance needed soldiers. Their war against the Void Crawlers, a species that consumed entire planets, had stretched their forces thin. Earth, they discovered, was a heavy world, a planet with higher gravity than most inhabited planets. This made humans naturally stronger than many alien species. The Global Defense Council met in Geneva to discuss the Alliance's offer. The decision wasn't easy. Some feared losing Earth's independence. Others saw an opportunity to advance humanity by centuries. In the end, the threat of the Void Crawlers made the choice clear: Earth needed allies. The first wave of human recruits joined the Alliance's military program. Training centers opened across Earth, teaching humans about alien technology and combat techniques. The aliens were impressed by human endurance but underestimated our potential. Among these recruits was John, a construction worker from Minnesota. He wasn't the strongest or the fastest, but years of heavy lifting and working in tough conditions had built his strength naturally. The Alliance's testing showed he had potential, though their machines couldn't quite measure how much. The journey to the Alliance's main training base took 3 months. John spent that time learning about his new allies. The Zexlar, tall purple-skinned warriors with 4 eyes, served as combat instructors. The thin ones, graceful beings who could float in air, handled strategy and planning. The Ironbacks, short but incredibly dense aliens, maintained the weapons. When they arrived at the base, the human recruits faced immediate prejudice. Other species saw them as primitives, barely able to handle basic technology. The Zexlar instructors especially doubted their capabilities, assigning them to basic training with the weakest equipment. John noticed something interesting during those first weeks. The alien weapons, though advanced, weren't as heavy as the steel beams he used to carry. Their heavy lifting requirements felt manageable to him. But he kept quiet, observing and learning. The base orbited a gas giant, its artificial gravity set to Alliance standard, about 60% of Earth's gravity. For the aliens, this was comfortable. For humans, it felt like walking on the moon. They had to be careful not to jump too high or move too quickly. Training groups were mixed, forcing different species to work together. John's group included 2 Zexlar warriors, a thin one navigator, and 3 Ironback engineers. They treated him like a burden at first, always assigning him the simplest tasks. Then came the day of advanced weapons training. The Mountain's Burden, their heaviest infantry weapon, was brought out for demonstrations. Nobody expected the quiet human to step forward and change everything. As news of John's feat spread across the base, other human recruits began showing their true capabilities. The Alliance's leaders started paying attention. Maybe these Earth-dwellers weren't just cannon fodder after all. Maybe they were exactly what the Alliance needed in their fight against the Void Crawlers. The story of the human who lifted Mountain's burden became a turning point. But it was just the beginning of humanity's impact on the greatest war the galaxy had ever seen. John entered his quarters after the Mountain's burden incident to find messages flooding his communication panel. Word had spread fast. Some alien commanders wanted to test him further. Others claimed it must have been a malfunction in the weapon's gravity systems. The next morning, the training hall was packed. Soldiers from every species gathered to watch the human recruits session. The Zexlar instructor, still shaken from yesterday, had prepared a series of increasingly difficult challenges. "Lift this," the instructor ordered, pointing to a cargo container marked as 400 units, enough to make even the strongest Ironback strain. John lifted it smoothly. The crowd murmured. Next came military equipment, defense shields, and finally, a broken-down shuttle engine. John handled each with surprising ease. But not all challenges were about strength. The thin ones set up agility courses, expecting the bulky human to fail. Instead, John's construction experience helped him navigate narrow beams and high platforms with unexpected grace. His ability to think quickly and adapt shocked them even more than his strength. The other human recruits began showing their abilities too. A former farmer carried twice his weight in supplies without breaking a sweat. An ex-firefighter outperformed everyone in the endurance trials. Each demonstration broke down more prejudices. Some aliens, however, felt threatened. During meal times, John heard whispers about dangerous primitives and unpredictable savages. The Zexlar warriors, particularly those who had mocked him earlier, kept their distance, their skin showing patterns of anxiety and fear. The base commander called an emergency meeting. The Alliance needed soldiers, but they also needed trust between species. John found himself appointed as an unofficial ambassador for humanity, forced to navigate both military training and interspecies politics. During combat simulations, alien soldiers initially refused to partner with humans. They believed humans would be too rough, too uncontrolled. John proved them wrong by showing exceptional care when handling alien equipment and working with physically weaker species. The Ironbacks were the first to warm up to the humans. They recognized the value of strength tempered by restraint. Soon, they began sharing stories of their own struggles to gain respect in the Alliance. Their acceptance helped bridge the gap with other species. As the day ended, John returned to his quarters exhausted but hopeful. The message board now showed training requests from various alien units. They weren't just testing him anymore, they wanted to learn from him. Humanity's place in the Alliance was changing, one lifted weight at a time. At the start of the third training week, the Alliance revealed something unexpected. Their medical scans had discovered unique aspects of human physiology. Not only were humans naturally stronger due to Earth's gravity, but their bodies could adapt to different environments faster than any known species. While other aliens needed special suits to handle varying gravity levels, humans could function effectively even when gravity shifted by 50%. This adaptability came from Earth's changing seasons and diverse environments, something rare on other worlds. During a joint training exercise, alarms blared through the base. A support beam in the main reactor room had cracked. The Ironback engineers couldn't reach the tight space to fix it, and the thin ones lacked the strength to hold the replacement beam. Without hesitation, John volunteered. The reactor room's heat would have killed most species within minutes. But human temperature tolerance, evolved from Earth's varied climates, allowed John to work longer. He crawled through the narrow passage, held the massive beam in place, and gave the engineers time to secure it. This incident revealed another human advantage: problem-solving under pressure. While alien species excelled in their specialized roles, humans could adapt and combine different approaches. The Alliance's scientists began studying this flexibility, seeing potential they'd overlooked. The base's training programs changed. Instead of trying to make humans match alien standards, they started developing techniques that used human capabilities. Mixed species teams formed, with each member playing to their strengths. Humans became the versatile core of these units. Some alien officers still resisted this change. They argued that unpredictable humans would disrupt their carefully planned military structure. But they couldn't deny the results: teams with human members consistently outperformed traditional units. The Void Crawlers were approaching Alliance space, destroying everything in their path. The Alliance needed every advantage they could get. Human adaptability might be the key to survival. As John watched the sunset over the gas giant from his quarters window, he realized humanity's place in the galaxy would never be the same. His communication panel blinked with a new message. The Alliance High Command wanted to speak with him tomorrow. Something big was coming, and humans would be at the center of it. The High Command meeting changed everything. Surveillance had detected a massive Void Crawler fleet heading toward populated systems. The Alliance's traditional tactics wouldn't be enough. They needed a new approach, and humans would lead it. John found himself in charge of training a special mixed-species unit. His team included the strongest warriors from each Alliance race, but they'd fight using human tactical thinking. The Void Crawlers had always faced enemies who followed strict military doctrine. Human unpredictability might be the edge they needed. During their first group exercise, John introduced Earth's military history. The aliens were amazed by how humans had developed thousands of different fighting styles. While Alliance species stuck to their evolutionary advantages, humans had always found ways to overcome their limitations. The team practiced new combinations, Thin One scouting from above while humans and Zexlar provided ground coverage. Ironbacks and humans worked together on heavy weapons, doubling their effectiveness. Each species learned to trust the other's strengths. But some old prejudices remained. During a crucial practice mission, a Zexlar warrior hesitated to follow John's orders, nearly causing the operation to fail. The incident forced them to confront their biases openly. John shared stories of Earth's own struggles with prejudice and how unity had made humanity stronger. Intelligence reports grew worse. The Void Crawlers had developed new weapons specifically designed to counter Alliance technology. But they hadn't factored in human involvement. The special unit's training scores surpassed all expectations, catching the attention of even the most skeptical Alliance leaders. A breakthrough came during an emergency response drill. The team faced a situation with no clear solution by Alliance standards. John's human approach, combining multiple tactics in an unexpected way, achieved results that the simulation's designers had thought impossible. As news spread about the unit's success, more alien soldiers requested transfers to human-led teams. The integration that had seemed so challenging months ago was happening naturally. The Alliance was changing, becoming more adaptable, more human in its thinking. The final test approached. High Command would evaluate whether this new human-influenced fighting style could really work against the Void Crawlers. John's team had one chance to prove that the future of galactic warfare would be stronger with humans in it. John's team received their first real mission. A Void Crawler scout ship had been detected near an Alliance colony. Command wanted them to capture it for study, something never achieved before. The mixed species unit would test their new tactics against the real enemy. Aboard their stealth ship, each member played to their strengths. The Thin One navigator guided them through an asteroid field, using paths too risky for normal Alliance ships. John and the Ironbacks prepared the heavy capture equipment, while the Zexlar warriors manned the defense systems. The Void Crawler ship appeared, bigger and more terrifying than the simulations. Its biomechanical hull pulsed with dark energy. Standard Alliance forces would have attacked head-on. Instead, John's team executed their unconventional plan. They used the asteroids as cover, something the Void Crawlers didn't expect. The Thin One's precise navigation let them get closer than any Alliance ship had before. When they sprang their trap, they struck from multiple angles simultaneously. The capture mission revealed shocking information. The Void Crawlers weren't just destroying worlds, they were harvesting genetic material, searching for species with useful traits. Humanity's adaptability had caught their attention. Earth was likely their next target. The team barely escaped when a larger Void Crawler force arrived. They lost 2 engines but managed to reach Alliance space. The mission was technically a success, they'd gathered crucial intelligence. But the cost was high, and the enemy now knew humans were a threat. Back at base, the injured team members recovered while analyzing their performance. The Alliance praised their success, but John saw room for improvement. They'd need to be better for the real battle ahead. The Void Crawlers were coming, and now it was personal. High Command called an emergency session. The intelligence they'd gathered changed everything. The war wasn't just about territory anymore, it was about survival. Humanity's involvement had raised the stakes, but it had also given the Alliance its best chance at victory. As John looked at his team, aliens who had become closer than family, he knew the real test was still to come. The next mission wouldn't be about proving human worth. It would be about saving every species in the galaxy. The final battle plan was set. The Alliance had detected the main Void Crawler fleet heading straight for Earth. John's unit would lead a strike team to their command ship while the Alliance fleet engaged the enemy forces. They launched under cover of a massive space battle. Thousands of ships filled the void, energy weapons lighting up the darkness. The Void Crawlers' biological ships moved like a swarm of deadly insects, consuming smaller Alliance vessels. Using the chaos as cover, John's team piloted their modified stealth ship through the battlefield. The Thin One navigator found paths between the fighting ships that seemed impossible. Their Zexlar weapons officer took out any enemies that got too close. Inside the Void Crawler command ship, they faced their greatest challenge. The ship's interior was alive, shifting and changing to trap them. The team used their diverse abilities to survive. Human strength broke through barriers, Ironback technology disabled security systems, and Thin One agility helped them dodge biological weapons. The command center contained a horrifying discovery. The Void Crawlers had collected DNA from thousands of species, creating hybrid soldiers. They planned to use human adaptability to make their forces unstoppable. John's team fought through waves of these experimental creatures. Each member pushed their abilities to the limit. The Zexlar warriors finally fought alongside humans as equals, their previous prejudices forgotten in the heat of battle. They reached the ship's core, but the mission changed. Instead of just disrupting their command, they had to destroy all the genetic research. If the Void Crawlers kept even a sample of human DNA, no world would be safe. The team rigged the core to overload, fighting off endless waves of enemies. Every species contributed: human strength, Thin One speed, Ironback durability, and Zexlar precision. Together, they represented everything the Alliance could become. Time ran out. They had to retreat through the dying ship as it began to break apart. The fate of Earth, and possibly the entire galaxy, depended on their escape. The Void Crawler command ship exploded in a burst of biomechanical energy, starting a chain reaction through their fleet. The genetic samples were destroyed, taking with them the threat of human-enhanced Void Crawlers. John's team emerged from the chaos as heroes. Their success proved that unity between species was the Alliance's greatest strength. Each member had contributed something unique: human adaptability, Thin One precision, Ironback resilience, and Zexlar courage. Back at Earth, the Alliance Council made a historic decision. Humans would receive full membership status, with equal representation in military and civilian leadership. The prejudices that had seemed so strong months ago faded in the light of shared victory. More human recruits joined the Alliance forces, bringing their unique abilities and problem-solving skills. Mixed-species units became standard, with each member's strengths complementing the others. The Alliance grew stronger through diversity. At the graduation ceremony for the first official human-led training class, John stood before representatives from every Alliance species. His former teammates were there, now instructors themselves. The Zexlar commander who had once doubted him presented him with the Alliance's highest honor. "We thought we were teaching humans our ways," the commander said, his scales showing the deep blue of respect. "Instead, you taught us that true strength comes from working together. One species alone cannot face the darkness between stars. But united, we can overcome any challenge." The Void Crawlers never returned. Perhaps they learned that some powers cannot be harvested or copied, they must be earned through trust and cooperation. The galaxy entered a new age of peace, with Earth and humanity playing a central role. Years later, at the Alliance Academy, new recruits would learn about the human who lifted mountains' burden and changed the galaxy. But the real lesson wasn't about physical strength. It was about breaking down barriers, proving prejudices wrong, and showing that the greatest power comes from unity. As John watched the sun set on his home planet, now a beacon of interstellar cooperation, he smiled. Sometimes the heaviest burdens become the greatest gifts, when you have friends to share them with.